How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen, which was up 1.43% on the day. Keep in mind, yesterday, that's when it saw a really strong run up. I was unable to do a video for you guys. I had to go to the hospital. But one thing I want to bring to your attention, because I see a lot of haters coming to the channel. I did say, if you can get above the 21-day EMA, which is at $1.15, watch out. And look what happened. It ended up testing a low yesterday at $1.17, and then it just started ripping to the upside. So I want to send a big shout out to all of the traders that were able to take advantage of that key level and follow this stock all the way up. Of course, we've noticed today, it looks like it's slowed down, but we've had a lot of volume that came in. So I want to make sure you know what it looks like to the upside as well as the downside for this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. Then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important, because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.42, being up 1.43%. On the low, it tested $1.40, and then on the high, testing $1.68. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 213.182 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 81.331 million shares. So you can see we had well above the average in regards to volume, and that's part of the reasons why we saw some strength in the stock, especially since it saw a high at $1.68. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 55.84. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day. We're also below the 50-day, but we are above the 21-day EMA. And since Mullen is trading below the 200-day moving average, it's still in a bear market. So the first thing that we want to pay attention to here, since I was unable to do a video for you guys yesterday, if you remember what I said in that previous video, I would not be bullish on this stock unless it was able to pass the 21-day EMA. So if you guys remember what I said in my previous video, I wouldn't be bullish on this stock until it gets above the 21-day EMA, which was at $1.15 at the time. Now it is at $1.20. But when we had that original breakout on the battery test news, if you were able to get an entry above the 21-day EMA, which is 115, it tested a low at $1.17 and had a strong spike up to where it got to 158, and then it also saw a high today at 168. This is how you game plan. This is how you have a strategy. Congrats to those that are able to make some money on the play. Now, because of this recent run up that we have had, we now have gaps on the chart, and I want to make sure I'm being very clear about it, and I want to show you what it looks like. So what this means, if Mullen decides to pull back, you want support to hold up right here around $1.17, since that was the low of the day yesterday. So if this level does not hold, there's a gap to the downside that needs to be filled right here around $1.03. So this is why you guys need to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario. And now as for the bullish case scenario, since we are forming higher lows for the past 2 trading days, for the next day, which would be Thursday, you want support to hold up at least above $1.40. If it can't hold up above $1.40, that means the higher low pattern stops and then you want to see it, at least see if it can hold support right here around 134. I'd even give it around 130. If it breaks through 130, that's where Mullen can start looking bearish, and that's just looking at the chart. But it could get very interesting if we have more volume coming into the play, because if we get to the 50-day moving average, which is at 174, if you remember in the previous video, it was at $1.81. So if we could break above this level, then don't be surprised if we see Mullen trying to make that move going to $2. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information from Mullen. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 52.77%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 107.88 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated 16 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate is at 4.98%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 27th, it is at 27.06, and then for the close of the 31st, being at 52.77. So that is a big jump right there. And then taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 11.62%, Mullen doesn't have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Mullen. So we could see on the inflow, it was at 71.14 million, and then on the outflow, it was at 76.73 million. So we had an outflow day. So what does that mean? A good amount of profit taking. When we take a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0.75 million. On the medium, it was 50.65 million. And then on the small, it was 19.74 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 2.47 million. On the medium, it was 55.08 million. And then on the small, it was 19.18 million. So overall, like I said, outflow day. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, we could see today for June the 1st, we had an outflow of 1.72 million. And then we could see on the 31st, another outflow of 0.51 million. Again, profit taking. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, you could see that we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, it represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 68.38%. So what does this tell us? There is a lot of traders that are going in and out of this play. It came with a lot of volatility. And we also can't forget the fact that it did well over 200 million in volume. Now let's move on to the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, when it comes to the price action, but you know what? Before I get started, I want to let you know something. If you are a trader, it is very important that you are neutral. You cannot be biased. So that's why we go over the levels in regards to the upside and as well as for the downside. Now, what I'm going to mention is very important here. As far as for the bearish case scenario for Mullen, keep in mind, it had a strong gap up when it got the news in regards to the battery test results. So the key area that you want to see hold in this play is at $1.17. Remember what I said in my previous video. I'm bullish on this play if it can get above the 21-day EMA, which was at $1.15. It did exactly that. We had a strong breakout, ended up seeing a high for today at $1.68. That is great. I know many of you have already taken profits. But if we end up breaking through 117, we have a gap that needs to be filled to the downside at $1.03. I want to make sure you keep very close note of this. There will be a lot of videos coming out on YouTube telling you, hey, buy this stock. You got to get it right now. You don't want to get left behind, blah, 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 blah. As a trader, that is not your concern. If people want to be bag holders, leave it up to them. But you have to make sure that you protect yourself to the downside, and if this play ends up having a move to the upside, you'll be able to take advantage of that. Now, as far as for the upside is concerned, so if you are bullish on this play, then of course you want Mullen to get above 168. Remember the 50-day moving average what we talked about in the previous video being at 181? So if Mullen is able to actually get to this level, now it has changed since the stock price has pulled back a little bit. I think it's around $1.74 for the 50-day moving average now. So we want price action above 174 to see if Mullen can make that possible test going to $2. This would be very essential. So now you know what it looks like to the upside and as well as for the downside. And I go through this in all my videos. If you are a trader watching my videos, I highly suggest you watch them fully. Don't just come by my channel and start nitpicking things. The only thing I care about is helping you guys make money. Also, we went on Fintel taking a look at the recent short interest information. Mullen doesn't have short squeeze potential whatsoever, but we have to keep in mind if the volume continues to pick up and we have a catalyst that comes through this play, which I talk about in all my videos, this play is catalyst driven, then it can make a strong move to the upside very quickly. And that is why I give you these levels to add to your homework. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.